Welcome to the Uncensored Self Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gillen, and on this show, ambitious women learn how to create a life they're obsessed with, without the hustle, without the grind, without torturing ourselves, and without following anybody else's rules. This podcast is all about creating our own rules, owning our identity as creator, and hitting every single goal we set for ourselves. Together, we're redefining success on our terms and building lives that look as good as they feel. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the Uncensored Self Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Gillen, and today we are going to talk about how do I use this to sign more clients? So many of you listening here today are business owners, entrepreneurs, real estate agents, mortgage lenders, salespeople, somebody who's producing something somewhere. And so, of course, this work is attractive to you because you want to sign more clients and you want to make more money. And I love that. And I want to help you do that. And I want to help you understand how do we use this work to sign more clients. And again, when I say this work, if you're new to the podcast, I'm referring to the work of intentional reality creation. I call it universal law, natural law, whatever feels best to you, energy work, whatever it is. But that's what we're going to do. How do I use the power, my ability to create, to sign more clients? And I love that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But I know a little bit about you. You have tried all the things, right? Like you are one of the hardest working people you know. So you have tried the strategies and you've done the things and you've produced it to a certain point, right? Maybe you're even like excelling at what you do and you're just tired of it being so fucking hard. So you're coming from one of two places, right? You're coming from a place of I'm trying really hard and not getting what I want out of this, right? Or B, I don't even know, like it's just not working. Things are a trickle. So that's what we're really going to talk about here today. But what I want to talk about is not the external strategy pieces, right? I want to talk about internal alignment. I want to talk about identity. But I have to tell you first, if signing clients and making money is the only reason why you're exploring this work, it's not going to work long term. It's not going to work long term. And I know that, again, from very personal experience. Everything that I teach you guys on this show comes from my own personal experience because I found this work because I wanted to sign more clients and I wanted to make more money and I wanted the easy button and I wanted the magic wand. And yes, those things exist, but you can't skip over the part of identity, the part of connecting with yourself, the part of becoming a person who signs more clients, because I want to sign more clients and I want to make more money. It's all about the external, right? Intentional reality creation, manifestation is all about the internal. It's all about identity. It's all about who am I being? So the question isn't how do I sign more clients? The question is how do I become somebody that people want to hire? That's what we're here to answer today. How do we sign more clients? Go read a book about sales, right? There's a million different ways to do it from a strategy perspective. So if you are doing the work, right? Like you are implementing some sort of strategy, I don't care what it is, and you're not signing clients, then it is very likely that your problem, and I'm using air quotes, is in identity and mindset. You don't believe yourself to be the person that people would hire. Therefore, they're not hiring you. And that's why this work has to be about identity first, because until you see yourself as a person that somebody wants to hire and pay XYZ dollars to do the work, it's not going to happen, right? Or it's going to be very hard and it's going to take a very long time and clients are going to trickle in. You want a steady stream of clients, you have to become somebody that people want to hire. You have to, and not just externally, but internally. You have to believe that you are somebody that people want to hire. And honestly, if I had to, like I could end the show right now. I could tell you that's why you're not signing clients. You're not signing clients because you don't see yourself as the best. You don't see yourself as a no-brainer. You don't see yourself as so effing valuable that people would be insane to not work with you. Because when you take that energy to whatever strategy you deploy, it works. And that's why I say that business is not a strategy game. Strategy is important and it's fine, but any strategy works when you are being a person that people want to hire, when you believe in your value, when you believe in what you do, when you believe in your offer, when you believe in your services, when you believe that people will have a better experience working with you than somebody else. Whatever strategy you choose is going to work. That's also why I say it's not always necessarily a skill game. And again, if you're brand new to business, brand new to business, go hire a business coach, right? Like if you don't know anything about business, anything about anything, you should go hire a business coach. But if you are somebody who has at least, signed a few clients, worked with a few people, made a little bit of money, you don't have a strategy problem because you know the process of enrolling a client. You have an identity problem of I don't see myself as worthy enough of being hired consistently and paid what I want to be paid. That is why you are not signing clients. You don't see yourself as somebody who is worthy of being paid. And that might not be the word you're choosing. Like, I haven't always resonated with the worthy word language. So maybe you're not saying I'm not worthy, but you're saying I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't know enough. I haven't been doing this long enough. I'm not confident I can get my clients a specific result. I'm afraid somebody's going to ask me a question and I'm not going to be able to answer it. And they're going to know that I don't know what I'm doing. I have imposter syndrome. I'm still brand new. This industry, it takes a long time to be successful. Those are all of the ways that you're telling yourself that you don't think you're worthy of being hired. And that's why you're probably having a hard time signing clients. You have got to believe that you are a person, again, that people would hire if that's what you desire to happen here. So we have to first start with seeing ourselves as the creator of our reality, right? Believing that I create my reality, and then believing that people want to work with you, that you're good, that you're amazing, that you're smart. Like that's why so many people have such a hard time signing clients, because they believe that they're not good enough to deliver, that they believe because of whatever reason that they're not going to get their clients results or something along those lines. And that's why they have such a hard time signing clients, because energy talks. And I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but it's true. You know, you have sat in a sales conversation with somebody before who does not believe in themselves, who does not believe in their product. And maybe you couldn't articulate that, but you were like, I don't know, something just doesn't feel right here. And this is even like something you intended to buy. Like, have you ever gotten to a sales conversation with somebody and you intended to buy, and then you didn't, and you can't really explain why? It was probably that person's, I'm sorry, desperate energy that you were feeling and picking up on. And that's why it didn't work. That's why you didn't buy. People are feeling that with you too. If you need it, if you want it so bad, if you think you're not good enough, if you're like, pick me, pick me, pick me, nobody likes pick me energy. I always use dating examples when it comes to this, but y'all had that guy who was too much, right? Too hot, too heavy, liked you too much, was too all up in your shit, too familiar, too soon, too needy, too, me. I would say it's like golden retriever energy, but not in a good way, because I fucking love golden retrievers. But the truth of the matter is, if you're in this pick me energy because I'm not good enough and I need you to make me feel good enough, it is an instant energetic turnoff. And I know that I'm kind of beating this pretty hard, but I tell you what, this is, and I have literally been training salespeople and entrepreneurs for 20 years. It is literally the difference between the people who are successful and the ones that are not. The ones that are successful believe in themselves, they believe in their ability, they believe in their product, they believe in their service, and they can show up powerfully and say, here is why you should choose me. And the people who are not successful are the ones who are like, I think you should choose me. I'd love if you choose me. Please choose me. I really want to help you. And I was like, where did that voice come from? But like, that's really the difference. So we first have to stop asking, how do I sign clients, and ask, how do I become somebody people want to hire? And then we need to see who we are and what we do as powerful and worthy and important. Because if you don't see your work as powerful, worthy, and important, other people won't either. Because that golden retriever pick me energy, while it's cute and it's fun, and that person was so nice and they were so kind, but they just didn't feel compelled to work with you because they didn't feel that you felt you were confident enough to get them a result. So the first thing we have to do is start showing up like we fucking mean it. Show up in the energy of, I am the best at what I do. And instantly your brain went, but what if I'm not the best? What if there are people that better me? Don't care. I'm the creator of my reality, and in my reality, I'm the fucking best. I am the best energy coach, business therapist, activator that you're ever going to fucking hire if you are a high achieving woman. I believe that to be true because I have walked your walk, and I'm damn good at what I do. Period. End of. That energy is what sells. That energy is why I have an 80% close rate on sales conversations. That energy in creating this content is what you have you listening to this and taking notes and sharing it with a friend. Sorry, not sorry, right? So you need to start telling yourself a different story about who you are and what you do. And of course, yes, identity as creator, that's important, but also like, who are you professionally? Why are you the best? Why are you best in class? Why are you amazing? What do you bring to the table? And then again, one of you out there is asking this question, I don't really bring a lot to the table. I'm pretty new at this. Bullshit. You have a lifetime worth of experience that landed you in this seat right here, right now. I had a conversation with a woman last week. She was telling me she has had several different careers. She was a real estate agent, but she'd had several different careers, some ancillary to real estate. And then she moved, relocated, and wanted to become an agent, but she's a new agent. And I was like, no, you are not a new agent. You are not a new agent. You have been in this business for 12 years. Like, it might be the first time that you're in real estate as the agent, but you know, like, you used to work for a lender. You know more about real estate than most real estate agents probably do because you've worked on the lender side of things, right? So you need to own that even though you've only had a real estate license for X amount of time, you know real estate better than most people because you have all of this other ancillary experience that butts up against this industry. But we so often are like, well, I've only been doing this for 5 minutes. Like, I'm going to tell you guys what, I have really only fully owned who I am as a transformational coach since June, July of 2024. So depending on when you're listening to this, it's only been 6 or 7 months, right? But when I look back over my life, what I have done as a sales coach, what I have done as an entrepreneur, what I did in my corporate career, what my girlfriends were calling me for at the age of 25. And they're like, what's this boy being so mean to me? Or can you help me negotiate this raise? Or how do I handle this bitchy person who's not kind to me? Is I have been activating people my entire motherfucking life. I have been having these types of conversations with people, and people come to my sister, who's older than me. My mother has come to me for advice, right? And I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm just telling you, I can tell you I've only been doing this for 7 months at the time of this recording, or I can tell you my entire fucking life, I have been helping people see their own potential. I have been helping people own who they are. And I have been. And I can give you examples from 15, 20 years ago, and I can give you an example from yesterday, right? So I can tell you, I don't have a lot of experience doing this work, or I can tell you every single fucking thing that I have done in life has prepared me for this moment. That's the energy you have to bring to your sales conversations. Every single thing that I have done in life has prepared me for this moment. Let me tell you. And how do you build this kind of confidence? Because that's what you're thinking right now. Well, Ryan, I'm not you. I'm not bubbly. I don't have your personality. I'm not as confident as you. I know. Do you know how I got here? Practice, and more practice. You don't become the best by waiting to be the best before you call yourself the best. You start telling yourself, you don't have to tell anybody else, guys. I'm not asking you to go out and market yourself as the best ABC XYZ if that doesn't feel genuine to you. I'm talking about the conversation happening in your head. Because remember, if you listen to the last episode, which you should, you guys should go back and listen from the beginning every single time. They're so good. I'm having so much fun doing this. But, you're the creator of your reality. If I'm the creator of my reality, I'm the best. And how we create is our thoughts, feelings, and actions. So the first thought I have to think, if I ever want to be the best, become the best, is tell myself that I'm the best. I love stories of athletes. Athletes are so good at this. I love Michael Phelps' story. I don't know all the details of it, but I know that Michael Phelps has been claiming to be an Olympic swimmer years before he was an actual Olympic swimmer. Y'all have heard stories of like recording artists and actors. I love the Jim Carrey story of the time he wrote himself a $10 million check and put it in his wallet. And I think it was somewhere between 7 and 10 years before he signed a deal for $10 million, right? But he was telling himself years before that happened that he was worth $10 million a movie. Right? He didn't wait until he got the movie to be like, I'm worth 10 million. He started telling himself he was worth 10 million so long before it happened, right? But you want the proof. You want somebody else to tell you you're the best. You want the external results to tell you you're the best before you believe you're the best. So the first thing you have to do is you have to convince yourself that you're the fucking best, that you're so good at what you do, that everybody wants to hire you. That is the story you have to start telling yourself until you believe that it is true. And you might be thinking, but isn't that lying? And I say no. If I'm the creator of my reality, I believe that I'm the best. Even if externally I don't see it yet, I believe that I will do whatever it takes to get my clients results, that I am a good person, that I try hard, that I'm morally sound and ethical about the work that I do. And quite frankly, that makes me better than, half the people anyway, right? I give a shit. I care. I want to do good work. I love building relationships with my clients. To me, that makes me better than a lot of other coaches. Not that it's about competition in any capacity, right? But that gets me darn near the best because I give a fuck. And we seem to downplay the give a fuck as a quality. Because y'all have worked with a business owner or a real estate agent or a mortgage lender or some salesperson in your career who you felt like didn't care, right? You felt like they didn't care. If you care, that's half the battle. Caring about people is half the battle, but we downplay that because we just assume everybody does, right? I was chatting with a woman this morning who's joining my collective, which is my group coaching program. And she was telling me that, so Here's what you have to do. You have to believe that you are the best. That's it. You have to believe you're the best. You have to start telling yourself the best. Again, conversation happening in your head. Put it in your journal. Put it in your affirmations. Put it on your bathroom mirror. Put it on Post-its all over your office. I am the best. People love working with me. Okay. That is a big one, right? So we have to be somebody people want to hire. We have to believe that we're the best, and we've got to get rid of the needy energy. We've got to get rid of the needy energy. And I want to talk about that because one of you out there is thinking right now, but like, Ryan, I do need the money. I do need the clients. I genuinely need the cash in the bank to pay ABC XYZ bill. And while that may be true, I've been in that situation as well, guys. Like I've been there more recently than I care to admit, to be quite honest with you. And the truth of the matter is that energy doesn't sell. You can't come from a place of need. Again, just like dating, when somebody is needy, when they are up in your shit, when they text you all the time, when people love bomb you. Have you ever been love bombed, right? Like bad news bears, right? So you have to be able to do the mindset work to be able to get yourself in a place of, I want you, but I don't need you. I want to work with you. I want to serve you. I want to get results, but if you don't, I will be okay. And again, your brain's like, but that's not true. I don't care. I wish that I had, I'm like literally rolling around in my brain right now. Like, what are some more practical ways? But it's a discipline. It is a discipline to trust that you can show up in confident, strong energy, even when you need the sale, right? I don't care if you make up a persona, right? Like I think of like Beyonce and Sasha Fierce, right? Like Superman and Clark Kent, right? Like what is the persona of you as the service provider in whatever it is that you do that shows up bold and confident and powerful, and you are insane if you don't hire me energy? You need to wear that persona as often as possible. Like, again, I don't care if you pretend like you are playing a role in a movie or a play or you're acting. Like, I don't care if you have to make it up. And there's going to some people that don't like, isn't that disingenuous, Ryan? No. If you're lying to people, it's disingenuous. If you're pretending to be somebody you're not, you're disingenuous. But there is a version of you in that persona, right? So to me, if you have to pretend to be a millionaire in your sales conversations so you don't need the money, then that's what you got to do, okay? You're not lying to people about like, let me show you the $1 million I have in the bank to close the deal. You are just wearing the identity of that person in the conversation. So the homework I'm going to give you from this episode, these are all very intuitively guided, guys. Like I put together an outline and then I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. This homework wasn't thought out, but the homework I have for you today is I want you to create the persona of which you show up in business development. When I say business development, I don't care if it's marketing. I don't care if you're networking. I don't care if you're creating content. I don't care if you're in sales conversations, right? There's a lot of different ways that fall under business development. But what is your business development persona? What is the version of you that is certain and confident and just oozes, hire me because I'll get you the best results in the world? And write that out. Write out that identity. Think about it. Who is she? How does she show up? What does she think? How does she talk to her clients? How does she carry herself? How does she dress? Right? Because when we're coming from needy energy, whether we realize we're doing it or not, we don't feel good. And guys, I'm going to tell you a story. Okay. I don't like to talk about the past too much because I don't like to live there, but it's context for this. So when I started my business back in 2019, it went bananas. I did $120,000 in 19. I think I did $530,000 in 2020. And then I had a $1.2 million year in 2021. And it was between two businesses, my business and a business that I had with a partner, and the partnership went south. And it was such a hit to my confidence. And I crumbled and I fell apart. And then I got to the point where I wasn't making as much money and I panicked. I was still killing it. Like compared to a lot of people, I was still doing really well. But when you go from making 1.2 million to making 400,000, I felt like shit. Okay. I'm being fully honest with you. I don't want anybody to feel bad for me. That's not why I'm telling you this story, but I'm telling you that it shook my confidence in a big way. And I didn't notice it at the time, but I wasn't showing up confidently. I wasn't showing up powerfully. I wasn't dressing like a successful version of me. I wasn't thinking like a successful version of me. I wasn't acting like somebody people would want to hire. I was acting like embarrassed and ashamed. And oh my God, if people found out what had happened to me, they would never want to work with me, right? Like that was the energy I was bringing to my sales conversation. So of course I wasn't closing business. Of course I wasn't attracting the best leads in the world, because the energy and the identity that I was in was that there was something wrong with me, and that I was embarrassed and ashamed of that. And that embarrassment and that shame and that needy energy, because it got to the point where I needed the money to make payroll a handful of times. I had to borrow money for payroll, like all sorts of crazy shit, right? And I can now see in retrospect, they say hindsight is 2020, that like I wasn't showing up as my most confident self because I was so embarrassed and ashamed of needing the sale. I had been in that spot in years, like decades. Like it wasn't like, oh, just, the past couple of years. Like even in my sales career, before I became an entrepreneur, I was successful and I made good money. I always had a weird relationship with money, and I'll do a whole show on money at some point. But like not knowing how I'm going to pay the bills was not a problem I'd had in a very, very long time. And so I was so embarrassed and so ashamed. And I can look back and see I was not showing up confidently, right? And what was wild is that just because that happened didn't take away any of the skills that I had, any of the ability that I had, any of, my ability to help people or serve people. Like none of that had gone away, other than the story that I was telling myself. I was telling myself that because I didn't top a $1.2 million year, that I wasn't good enough and that people weren't going to want to hire me, and that I was so embarrassed and ashamed that I was having these problems, which if y'all have been a business owner for any period of time, know that's pretty normal. I'd like to break that norm, but it's pretty normal in business world to feast and famine and all of that. I don't like that either, but it is true that culturally that is accepted, right? But there are people who have really huge months and really low months and really huge months and really low months. I don't do that anymore. I've learned how not to do that anymore. But at the time, the consciousness that I was at, I could have looked around the room and been like, I'm not the only one that's going through this, right? But I thought that I was. And then, of course, I was embarrassed and ashamed that I was going through it. And there's no way in the world that one can show up confidently in that energy. And that's where needy energy comes from. And so I'm just telling you now, even though you think like, Ryan, I'm doing the best I can, I'm showing up. But if you're showing up from a place of guilt, shame, embarrassment, not good enough, people can tell. People can tell. So I wish that somebody would have told me, build a persona, build your business persona. Again, this is a short-term solution. Okay. Because what I truly teach you is to be more of you and to be all of you. So it feels a little counterintuitive to tell you to like develop a persona. But the truth of the matter is, my guess is the persona that you develop is going to be more you than this sad, embarrassed, victim, needy version of you, because that's not who you were ever meant to be. I don't believe that's what God intended for any of us. God, universe, source, whatever you believe in, right? I believe that the persona that you're going to write down and you're going to create, the one who fucking crushes it, people love to work with you. You're so good at your job. You get your clients amazing results. People are wrapped around the block to work with you. OMG, right? Like that persona is probably more you than who you're actually being right now. And you just need to pretend to get yourself there. Okay. And again, a little bit, I told you, some of this comes through intuitively, but if you spent some time thinking about what is that identity, and then when you go to sit down, write content, create content, film content, do outreach, network, whatever lead gen you do, when you show up in sales conversations, or if you're hosting a webinar, or you're doing a live launch, or you're recording a podcast, or whatever activity you're taking, show up in that persona, show up in that energy, even if you don't feel it. Even if it doesn't feel real yet, you have to practice it. You have to practice it and practice it and practice it and practice it until it becomes natural, right? So that's what has to happen. Even if you need it, you can't show up in needy energy, because needy energy is so repelling. And you know that. I know you know that. Okay. And then the thing I'm going to leave you with here today, maybe I'm not going to leave you with it, is if you're having a hard time signing clients, I want to ask you, are you doing what everybody else is doing to sign clients? I'm going to ask again, are you doing what everybody else is doing to sign clients? Because I see this in my real estate clients, my mortgage clients, my entrepreneur clients. This is what everybody else is doing. So I think that this is what I need to do to sign clients. And I don't think that's true for a fucking minute. I think that the market got so oversaturated with how-tos and cliff notes and blueprints that made people think, well, if I just do what that other successful person does, then I will sign clients. And you and I both know that's not true, because you have tried. You have tried to do things the way other people do things, and it has not worked for you. And it's not because the strategy doesn't work. It's because the strategy is not aligned with you. Doing shit you hate to get clients is not going to yield clients. right? It's just like torturing yourself in the gym to lose weight often doesn't result in weight loss. Or if it does, it's not sustainable weight loss. I think this is an Abraham Hicks quote. I've said this before. You cannot have an unhappy journey to a happy destination. You can't torture yourself enough to sit on your pile of money and your pile of clients and be happy. It just doesn't fucking work that way. So if you're having a hard time signing clients, and again, we've talked about how do I become somebody people want to hire, right? Believing in yourself and being confident, not having this desperate energy. Then now it's like, what is the actual activity that you're taking? And is that activity aligned? Because if it is not, it's not going to work for you. I became an entrepreneur, and I taught people how to get into the DMs and have conversations on Facebook, right? I was not teaching, hey girl, messages. It was not MLM style, but like I grew up cold calling and cold emailing and reaching out to people and building relationships. So when I started a business, it was like, cool. Now I can do this on the internet and I don't have to leave my house to do this, but I still have access to billions of people with a B. So I started networking with people on Facebook, and it worked. It worked so well for me. And I would teach people what I was doing. And some of them it would work for and some of it wasn't, but some of them hated reaching out to strangers. It just wasn't aligned with who they were and their values or any of those things. They hated it. So of course it didn't work for them, because if you hate reaching out and talking to strangers, then, hard pressed to have a lot of success in a strategy or an idea that's reaching out and talking to strangers, right? I live launched my face off, made my first $1 million launching. Okay. If you don't know what that is, live launching is when you show up on live video and you walk people through a workshop and you pitch them your programs and services, right? So you launch your product, program, service over and over and over again live by interacting with people, on Zoom, Facebook Live, whatever it is. And that is just no longer aligned with who I am. But at the time, it worked. Right now, if I tried to live launch, it would not go well, because that is not an aligned strategy for me any longer. It's just not what I desire to do and how I desire to run my business. So I'm not saying that live launching doesn't work, because it did work, and it worked for me, an older version of me. But this version of me, no, thank you. Right? This version of me, it's not for me. So I think that that is a challenge that a lot of people have, that they struggle with, because they are trying to do what everybody else in their industry is doing and what the most successful people are doing. And then you wind up hiring a real estate coach or a business coach or a mortgage coach, and they just tell you how to do the things that everybody else is doing. And the reason that it's not working for you is because those things are not aligned. And it doesn't mean that you can't be successful in your industry. It just means you're going to have to create your own way that is aligned for you, right? You have to be aligned, alignment over anything, because all the strategy in the world is not going to outpace lack of alignment. Okay. I think it's a really, really, really important one. So practical steps. That's where we're going to end. We're going to end, right? I'm like, back to my notes. You guys know I like to go a little rogue. We want to focus on becoming, not doing, right? Who are you being in your business? Are you being somebody people want to hire? Are you being somebody people want to work with? Are you being somebody who believes in your product and service so fiercely that you think that people are bananas to not work with you? Okay. That's the first step. Again, we have to really take stock of our mindset. We have to really, really, really get into that. And then we have to find the aligned actions, right? What are the aligned actions? What are something you can do consistently to grow your business? And then you have to start being grateful for what you have. If you have one client, be grateful for your one client. Okay. I made this mistake a lot. I promise, right? Where it was like, well, I have 10 clients, but I really want 30. We're always focused on the gap, right? If you guys read that book, The Gap and the Gain, I think it's by like Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan. We're always focused on the gap. The gap's always going to make you feel not good enough. So instead of look at where I'm not, it's look at where I've been. Look at the people I have served. I'm so grateful for all the people who have trusted me to sell their home or help them buy a home. I'm so grateful for all the people who have let me help them with their lending needs. I am so grateful for all the clients who have trusted me to do ABC, XYZ for them. I am so grateful for the current clients I have and how amazing they are and what great results they're getting in what we do. So if you have any clients, you've got to fucking be grateful for the ones you have, because why is the universe going to give you more? If you're not grateful for what you have, I mean, think we do this to our kids all the time, right? We're like, you're not grateful for the toys I just bought you. You want me to buy you more toys, right? Like, the universe feels the same way about your gratitude for what you have. Okay. So I was a little all over the map today, but I really, really, really want to hammer this home. It is an identity journey. You have to see yourself as somebody people want to hire. You have to believe in what you do, and you have to show up in that belief. And if you don't believe it yet, a belief is only a thought that you have thought over and over and over again. Okay. So all you have to do is over and over and over again, tell yourself that you're the best. People love to fucking hire you. People love to give you money. People love to work with you. You're so good at what you do, and your clients get amazing results. And they know when they meet with you, when they talk to you, when they interact with you, that you are the provider for them. Start telling yourself that story and watch your business change. I don't care if you wind up doing the exact same thing that you're doing now, but if you show up in the identity of somebody that people want to fucking hire, if you keep doing the same thing or even start doing something else, but you show up in the energy of, this isn't working for me. This is so hard. Why do I have such a hard time finding clients? I'm having such a hard time finding clients. This is hard. This is challenging. Why isn't it working? Why isn't anybody hiring me? I really need to make money. I really need this client. I really need to pay this bill. I really need to make, no, it's not going to work. Like, you guys felt it. You felt the energy shift in those two things. That's the difference between somebody whose business grows and thrives and somebody whose business. I'll see y'all next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Uncensored Self Podcast. If you're walking away with a new perspective, some fresh inspiration, or the push you needed to show up as your uncensored self, I'd love to hear about it. Share this episode, leave a review, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember, success isn't about following somebody else's rules. It's about owning who you are, deciding what you want, and going after it unapologetically. Until next time, keep leading, keep creating, and stay uncensored.